Hey there, I'm Cal. In this video, I'm going to go over the Accordion widget for BigCommerce. This is available through the Page Builder Widgets app that's available in the BigCommerce App Store. It'll add a whole bunch of extra widgets to your site, and this is one of them. Once you get it installed and you get the widgets added to your site, they'll show up in your Page Builder. So you just click to customize your theme, and you can scroll down until you see the widget that says Accordion and just drag it into the page. I've already done that. So once you do that, you can click into the widget. It'll show up here on the left-hand side. And you can see that there's 3 tabs by default. Each tab is one of the accordion blades. So if you only needed 2, you could just delete one just like that. To edit the content on each one, uh, let's see. Why is the sky blue, right? So that's going to be the question, or the accordion blade, or the accordion handle, whatever you want to call it. And then there's a spot here where it says you can use this widget to put in arbitrary HTML code. So this is just placeholder text. What you want to do is come in here and then type in what you want to say, right? And click save, and that will appear here as the answer, right? Or the accordion content, right? Now you can also, if you need a little bit more room to see what you got, you can say expand the HTML editor, and then that'll give you a full thing here. You can also put in HTML. So if we want to say this and say, actually, let's just put in a second paragraph and say, because blue is the best color. Then we can either, let's see, what does this say? Cancel. Let's click Save HTML, and that'll save it. So you can see that it shows up in here. And now if we expand it, you can see that it shows it as 2 paragraphs. If we just left this as 1 paragraph, then when we click Save it, you can see it's all going to be just like that. If we don't put any kind of HTML in here, which is perfectly okay, then when we click Save, it'll still be in here, which is great. And let's see, what else should I show you guys? If we do this twice, if we put that in there twice and click save, then when we expand it, you can see that even though we put it on 2 lines, it basically just strung it all together because it's just looking at it as one HTML field, unless you use actual HTML paragraph text to show that it's a couple different paragraphs. So it's HTML optional, but if you have a lot of content to add into the content of your accordion, then you might need to get a little HTML-y, but it's pretty easy. Click save. All right, so that's that. Now, there's additional settings up here in this 3-dot menu. So you click that and then you go to settings. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you guys that a really easy way to do this is, like, if you get this first one right, then you can come in here and click duplicate, and it'll create a tab 2 that already has things like your paragraph text in here. So if we were just changing the answer, we could just come in here and automatically have our HTML all ready to go. All right, so let's see. I showed you guys how to add them, how to delete them. You can add a new accordion without duplicating to maintain the same style just by clicking the plus. All right, let's show you guys these settings. Now, right out the gate, it's styled like this, where everything has a little bit of an underline, and when you hover over them, you can see that it darkens the underline. It's actually a bottom border is what it is. And there's also a plus icon over here. When we go into the options, we can say, let's make the title, whoa, not that big, but let's make it bigger, right? Let's make it 22. And then let's make the content 16, for example. So now you can see it's a lot smaller. Or we can bump it up to 18, just like that. We can change the content alignment to be centered or right aligned. Usually going to be better to be left aligned unless you're centering everything. You can change the font here to be normal instead of bold. You can change the text color to whatever you want. Maybe we want to make it blue. And you can see that changed the heading, but not the content. right? So you have a lot of different options here in the options tab. On the icon options, this is for styling the icon over here, so we can easily change the color to be whatever we want. And just like that, we can change the icon position. If we want to move it around a little bit, you can see that kind of pushed it down a little bit. Maybe we want to inset it a little bit more from the right, or maybe not, but you can play around with it and just get it to where you guys want it to be. If you just didn't want to show this, you could just elect to make it white. Now it's still technically there. It's just not, it's not there in spirit. And you can see that hover, changing the hover to red makes it look really cool. All right. Spacing. So this is the spacing around the tabs, and then you have spacing around the content. So looking at the content first, if I wanted to make the top of that 60 to give it more spacing, totally can. Just like that. Maybe let's not make it 60 because it's just hard to look at. And if we wanted to add a little bit more spacing to the tabs or a little bit less, then we can say maybe make that 5, 5, and 5, and 40. Kind of pushes it in a little bit. You guys are in control. The space between the tabs, if you wanted to just add a little bit of space, so you can see that, well, I guess it's hard to see with a white background, but it's there. Oh, let me get back into settings because I clicked out. Going into the background, let's give this a little bit of a background, and you can see that that gave the tabs or the headings basically a background. So let's say we want the active one though to be darker, right? So now you can see that it's darkening that one as we're hovering over it. And then if we want to give the content a background, just like that. All right, last but not least, we got a whole bunch of border options in here. We can make the border color a different color. We can make it different color on hover or active. There's a lot of choices here. Now I did mention that that bottom underline is actually a border, and this is where it's located. If you didn't want it just to be on the border or just to be on the bottom, then you could give a border around the whole thing just like that. Or maybe you want it to be on the top instead of the bottom, you know, just like that. And last but not least, we can round the corners just like that. And you can see that turned the whole tab into basically a tab looking tab now. So I don't think it's looking good the way I have it configured for this video, but you can see there's just tons and tons of options and choices that you can do. But right out the gate, it's styled pretty nice. It's styled pretty minimally. So maybe you don't need any of these options, but if you need them, they're there. And that's how you use the accordion widget for BigCommerce.